Hello there, Year 11. I am recording this assembly for you just in case I'm ill on Tuesday or if something happens and it can't go ahead, and you can get the information you need for the mocks. It's also for anyone who is off at the moment, isolating, and wants the same information as everyone else. Okay, so we've got our mocks the week beginning Monday, the 15th of November. Some key information. Okay, we've been doing some study practice recently. Um, and I'm really pleased to have heard from tutors and mentors, lots of revising going on. And crucially, what I'm hearing is lots of people doing little bits. Okay, that's the way we get started. Okay. Um, just a word on that. If you are isolating and you have been too ill to do any revision, please do not stress or worry. Okay. In terms of mock exams, we've got another set of mocks that come up in March. Okay. These mock exams are just internal use only. They're used by us as a school so that we can get you used to the process of going into an exam room, revising for an exam, being in an exam room, and writing in exam conditions with invigilators and so on. So we're doing it so that you can, by the time we get to our exams in the summer, you have done it 2 times already and you feel comfortable with the process. It's all about process and repeating that process so that um, you feel really comfortable. The end result, the grade at the end, I'm not really worried about for these mocks. Okay, I shouldn't really say that, but it's not high on my list of priorities for the mock exams. It's the process you go through over the next 2 weeks and have been through so far for the last 3 weeks, revising and everything to get you prepared for the exam. So if you're at home and you're watching this and you've just been too poorly to revise, please don't worry. We'd still like you to give it a go so that you can get some feedback on stuff you need to work on for next time. When we report what you get on these exams, they'll have a massive asterisk next to your name saying that you were severely impacted by COVID in your run up to it, so that you're aware and you've got that, and so anyone who looks at it is aware of it too. The forecast grades that we give will also, for students who've been isolating, taking that into consideration. We're not just going to give you the grade that you get on your mock exam as your forecast grade, because that wouldn't be fair. So I just want to lay a few worries at rest that please don't worry, please don't overly stress and worry. Okay, we will look after you as best we possibly can in the face of not much guidance from government at this moment in time. Okay, in terms of the mocks themselves, um, as I meant, you've seen this before. We're at that last little stage. We've done lots of work so far. It's just all about that knowledge in our heads that's been stored within us deep down coming out to the fore. And crucially, lots of the things that people see, as I've just mentioned, those grades at the end of it, that's all that people see, and they don't see all the other stuff, the stress and the worry and the disappointment and stuff that comes alongside it and before it. As I mentioned before, these mocks are all about a process of going through and getting used to how to revise and how to tackle questions in an exam room and so on. The end result from these mock exams, I'm not worried about. Okay, because there's just so many variables at the moment that we can't control that it's just all about the process. So that's the timeline for the year in terms of where we are. We've got a mock exam period now. We've got parents' evening in January once we've got through and marked all the mocks. There's then a second set of mocks in March. Now that's quite important and useful for those people who have been really poorly at this moment in time, who haven't been able to revise, and it gives you another go at kind of preparing for the final exams, which are the 16th of May to the 29th of June. The last main exam, though, is the 24th of June, which is the science exam. There's a further maths exam on the 27th. Okay, the official leaving school date is the 29th, is after, sorry, completion of the 29th, so it'll be the 30th of June. Um, now, the processes you've received for these mock exams, your timetables, okay? It's got exam locations, like whether it's in the sports hall, or the main hall, or in the classroom, and seat numbers. And for the seat numbers, crucially, you have to sit in those allocated seats. Those aren't our rules, and you hear me banging on this phrase loads, but these are JCQ exam rules. JCQ stands for Joint Centre for Qualifications. They're the body that oversees all exams in the country for all the exam boards. Okay, so anything I mentioned about JCQ, it's the big body that oversees things. Okay, I should just go back to that. If you are without a seating plan, if you've lost it, come and find me and I can print it out, or come and find Mrs. Regan, we can print it out again for you. Okay. For our morning exams, okay, we've got breakfast club obviously from 8 o'clock, so you can come in early if you want a quiet space to revise in school. At 8:30, doors obviously, well, doors are open before that, but you can come into school and go to your form rooms to register. Okay, you remain in your form rooms to register. At 8:40, the registration happens on the bell. Okay, and you have about a minute. Your form tutors have about a minute to do the registration. A minute passed, so 8:41. Your tutor's going to walk you down to the hive with your belongings. Okay. At 8:41, those students who are in the sports hall will come down to the hive. If you have access arrangements for an exam and you're in P2 and it says on your exam timetable you're in P2, at 8:41 you don't come to the hive, you just go straight downstairs into P2. There'll be an invigilator there that will be welcoming you. You'll be able to drop your exam, your equipment and your belongings off in a locked cupboard, including your mobile phone, so you can get started almost straight away at 8:45, because there's quite a few students in those rooms who have extra time. Okay, and if it's a 2-hour exam, extra time is an extra half an hour. Okay, so it does run on. If you are allowed an exam pen, and you'll know who you are because you've been using them in class, please bring wired earphones so you can plug them in so that you can hear what's being said as you hover your exam pen over. Everyone else, at this point, 8:41, we're all walking as if we're going to an assembly down to the hive. Okay? At the hive, what you need to do is we need to enter via the upstairs entry points. Okay? This is a plan of the hive from the 2 entry points at the back at the top. And what you do is you come down and you must sit in the correct row based on where you'll be sitting for your exam. So if you are in seat A1 for your exam, whatever that is, you come down to the front, and at the front there'll be 2 rows labeled A, B, C, and you sit anywhere in that row. Okay? If you're in seat C10, you come down to the front and you'll see there are 2 rows in the hive that are labelled, and it's all labelled for you, whereby you'd sit in rows A, B, C in the hive, the first 2 rows. If you're in seat F3, you would go down the hive, you come down the hive till you find the row that says D, E, F, and you can sit anywhere in there in preparation to go into the exam room. Okay, this is because in the exam room in the sports hall, the rows go back 10 seats. So the seats A1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Whereas in the hive, there is around about 16, 17, 18. It varies, number of seats going across. So we've combined some of the rows. So if you are in M3, a seat in your exam room, you go down until you find the row that has M on it and you sit in that row in the hive. Okay? Once you're sat in the right row, what you then do is that you start to take off your coats and bags and put them by your feet and get your stuff out. When we're in the hive, we are under JCQ rules because this is they class this as a holding room. Okay, we do a holding room first to then get you organised and set up and happy and ready before we then release you into the sports hall. Okay, as I mentioned, the rows are on the floor. You come in, you sit down, you take your coats off, put them by your feet where you sat. You make sure your mobile phone is in your bag and switched off, and you get out the equipment you need for that exam. So if it's a maths or science exam, you're going to need, or a geography exam, you're going to need a calculator. Get your calculators out. We don't have enough calculators to be able to lend you one for the exam. You must bring your own. Okay. You must also make sure you've got a black pen. It's really weird, but it must be in black. Blue's not allowed by the exam boards, and that's because your exams are often scanned in and sent off to someone, often around the world, and they'll mark your exam on a screen. And blue does not scan in well. It must be black. Please make sure you've got any rulers or pens or highlighters that you want to take in. Now, if you want to take in a pencil case, that's fine, but it must be clear. Okay, that means see-through. You can take in all your stuff you need in a plastic wallet if you wanted, one of those little plastic wallets that you put paper in that has ring binders on the edge. That's also fine to take in as a pencil case, but it must be clear. If you want to take a water bottle in, that again must be see-through. Okay, you can't take in a water bottle that is pink. Okay, I wouldn't be able to take in this water bottle, even though I can just about see through it because it's black. I can't take it in. If you want a bottle of water, that's fine. Please take in a bottle of water, Harrogate Spring, that we sell in the canteen or wherever, but you must remove the label. And that's because some people, 5 or 6 years ago, hid notes on the back of the labels and were found out, so JCQ have banned them. Okay. They've also banned iPads in the exam room, so that's just obvious. Mobile phones in the exam room, again obvious, and watches. I've got a rubbish watch. Okay. It's one of them old school £5 jobbies. Can't have it in the exam room. Okay. That's because smartwatches are banned, and even rubbish watches like these are banned. They just do an outright ban on them. Okay. There are going to be loads of clocks in the exam room, so don't worry about the time. Okay. You'll be able to see a clock to be able to work out how much time you need. All right. So don't stress too much about that. But everything you need to take in needs to be in a clear pencil case, or it needs to be easily see through if it's a water bottle. But your phones, your iPads, watches must be left in your bags. The hive will be locked. Okay. If you get into the sports hall and into the exam room and you realise that you've got a mobile phone on you, you have to then declare it. We then take it off you and then we give it into the office, and then you have to collect it at the end of the day. You won't be giving it back at the end of the exam. It will be at the end of the day. So this makes tries to focus. I want you to focus on making sure your mobile phones are in your bags and they don't come anywhere near the exam rooms. That's because if you are caught with a mobile phone on your person, even if it doesn't go off, the risk is huge. The risk is massive that you can be disqualified from all your exams. I'll let that sink in. If you do an AQA English paper and your mobile phone goes off in your person, it's disturbed other people. What happens is we then have to report that to JCQ. What they have done in the past is that they have then penalised students by taking percentage marks off their exam papers. In some cases, they've also excluded them from any further exams. So it's so important, the mobile phone issue. Okay, now we're in the hive at this point, and then from 8:45, I'm going to start to feed you in row by row to the sports hall. Okay, we're going to come out of the hive, walk out of the entrance that's closest to the exit that's closest to the hive entrance, and we'll walk across through the kind of like courtyardy area to the sports hall and go in through the emergency exit entrance. There'll be an invigilator there to direct you in. Okay, so I'll get rows A, B, C out first, and you'll go in, and the invigilators will kind of direct you to where to go. Again, once you get into that exam room, you're under JCQ exam rules. That means absolute silence. Okay, the rows are labelled on the wall. You'll get really used to where everything is after the first exam. Okay, the first exam is often the trickiest because it's the first time you've done something. But row A, when you go in, is the furthest away from the door. Okay, so you'll go down there and you'll find your seat. Your seats are really easy to find. Okay, because they've got ID cards on them. Okay, ID card is basically tells you your name, has your picture on it, and it also is an identifier for JCQ in case an inspector comes around. You have to be identifiable. There has to be a picture on this ID card. There has to be your name and what exam you're sitting and your exam numbers and all the information you need. And if we get inspected, an examiner needs to be able to see that. Okay, some people don't like to have their picture on display, so once they've sat down and got all the information onto their exam papers, they then turn it over. That's fine. Okay, but please do not touch in terms of writing on it. Please do not deface or do anything to those ID cards. Okay, because they have to be identifiable. When you are going to the exam hall, if there is an issue, don't talk to your person or someone asking where should I sit, whatever. If there's an issue, stop and raise your hand. If at any point you do not understand something, do not speak. Just raise your hand. Okay? Do not communicate in any way. All right? The reason for that is the invigilators, who aren't teachers, when you come in, you'll find a load of people that you don't know at the front. They are invigilators. They have to report people who are talking or communicating in any way. And that means from the moment you come into the room. So if you're not sure where you are, just stop and stand still. And the invigilators, they are nice, even though they are invigilators. They're really nice people, but you must make sure that you don't communicate. And if there's any problems, you put your hand up. Okay. Once we're in the exam, once we're in the exam room, we have to make sure the exams start by 9 o'clock. Most of them will stand bang on 9 o'clock, so it's easy for you to calculate the time. As I mentioned about these ID cards, do not write on them in any way. Okay, that's because an inspector has to be able to see them and look at them. Your morning exams will finish by 11 a.m. for break. Okay, this is for people in the sports hall. If you're in P2 and you've got, say, an English exam that's 2 hours long and it runs over into break time, don't worry. You will be given your extra time break up on the balcony. I will sit there and you'll be able to get your break with me. So don't worry. Okay. Period 3 will always be a revision lesson. Okay, so bring revision material for your afternoon exam for that lesson. I teach Year 11 French Period 3 on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and my lessons are going to be dedicated to you having some revision time. Okay, if you don't have a mock exam, you go to your normal timetabled lesson. Okay, so Monday we do our physics in the morning. Period 3, it's either maths or English. You go to those lessons and you do revision for your afternoon exam, which happens to be maths. Okay. Nice and simple. For afternoon exams, okay, lunch happens as normal. At 1:15, when the whistle goes or the bell goes, you go to period 4 to register. That is, unless you are in P2. We need everyone in P2 to get themselves registered as quickly as set up and started as quickly as possible. Okay. At 1:20, you go to your normal classrooms to register. Once you've registered, you then make your way to the Hive Theatre. In the first week, what will happen is that your teachers will walk you down because for maths in the afternoon, everyone's involved in it. So the teachers just walk you down. Same deal as the morning, how you walk in, etc. For Tuesday afternoon on that first week, it's geography. For Thursday afternoon on that first week, it's history. And for those exams, once you've registered, you will go to the Hive and you'll come and sit down with me. But there's only 120 or so. There's only about half the year, just over half the year group be doing those exams. Everyone else, you remain in your rooms at that point. Okay. There'll be a slight tweaking of some of those lessons in the afternoon, and you may be combined. You may have to kind of move slightly around so that we can get a few people a few members of staff freed up so that they can help invigilate. But at the moment, just stay in those rooms until you're directed by members of staff if you don't have an exam in the afternoon. Okay. Now, in the Hive, we're in exam rules again. Same deal as I've just shown to you. Black pens, rulers, see-through water bottles, etc. We get ourselves nice and settled and calm. I want the Hive to be nice and quiet and calm. The reason for that is going into the exam room can be quite stressful. Okay, so we've got to look after one another. We've got to look after each other. Okay, and get ourselves through this. Once we've done that, those times, I'll get you into the sports hall. So the Monday afternoon, I'll get you into the sports hall so that we're, again, trying to start the exam. Latest it needs to start by is 1:45 so that you can be done in time for home time and buses, etc. We'll aim to try and start it as quickly as we can. Okay, we're in exam rules once we get into the sports hall in the afternoon exams. It's the same deal as the morning. When you've done the first exam, when you've done your first exam on Monday morning, the second one is easier, the third one's easier, and then it becomes into a bit of a routine and you then start to feel much more comfortable. Okay. For afternoon exams, there are some, okay, whereby they finish after 3 o'clock. Maths is an example. If it starts at 1:40, that means it will finish at 3:10. Okay, same thing for geography. And what happens with that is once we've got you out and got your stuff back and you've got your things and belongings after the Hive, you can go straight home for any exam that finishes after 3 o'clock. You don't have to go back to your classroom because we just end up having loads of people wandering around school and it's just not going to be conducive. You just go straight home. Any exam, though, that finishes before 3 o'clock, you have to go back to your period 5 lesson. So, for example, history on Thursday afternoon, that's an hour-long exam. So for history, it's likely that will start at 1:40, therefore you'll finish at 2:40, and then you need to go back to your lesson, your period 5 lesson, once you've got your things. The reason for that is we can't send you home at 2:40 because of the fact that you have to remain under school's supervision 45 minutes just letting you go is not allowed, unfortunately. Whereas 2, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, by the time you've collected all of your things for a 1 hour 30 exams is fine. Okay. In week 2, if you have not got an afternoon exam, you just go to your normal timetable lesson as normal to 3:20. So in that second week, Monday afternoon, it's PE, it's computing. If you don't do those, you just go to your normal lesson. Your teachers will be there. Okay. We have enough invigilators just to be able to just have your normal timetable running. Okay. Now, as I mentioned, for week 2, it's slightly different. The only difference is instead of the exams taking place in the sports hall, we're going to do them in the main hall. So, as I mentioned there, for PE and computing, we'll do them in the main hall. That's so that we can allow the normal curriculum to run again in the sports hall. All right. So we have to clean down the hall and get everything set up. And we're really good at that now. We've practiced and it takes us about 20 minutes. But I will walk us all through the from the hive into the main hall. And what you do is when I release you, you go through the lunchbox doors, then you come round and through into the main entrance, into the main hall that way, and your exam invigilators will be in there. Okay. Those exams will start slightly later at 1:45, but because they don't run past, they're all 1 hour 30 exams. That will mean that basically, if the time is after 3 o'clock, you get your stuff and then you're able to leave because those exams will be more likely finishing at kind of 3:10, etc. Okay, don't worry, I'll talk you through week 2 in the hive as needed. Okay, just put that back up on there. Don't worry about what people see for these mocks, the end results. We're not worried in school. We're not worried about the results of an exam here in the mock. Okay, your forecast grades won't just be your mock exam results. They will be what your teacher knows of you, okay, as well as your classwork and other stuff. We're not just going to base forecast grades on those mock exams because lots of people, it's not fair, okay? It wouldn't be fair if you've been at home isolating, too poorly to revise, feeling like absolute death, and then coming into a mock exam, you're not going to show off the best of your ability. So we understand that. At the moment, we've got no guidance from the government about what will happen if that's the case in the actual summer exams. They haven't told us anything yet. So, yeah, unfortunately, we can't tell you what will happen for the summer because they haven't told us. Now, if you are off for a mock exam, if you are off with COVID, or if you're off ill, what will happen is your exam paper for that day will be sent home. Okay, if you are well enough to complete it, then please give it a go, and then when you come back in, hand it into your teacher so they can mark it and give you some feedback. All right. Those students that do that, obviously, we can't use that as evidence if exams are cancelled in the summer, and that's because it wouldn't be done in the same way as everyone else. We'll still give you the chance, if you wanted to be able to do the mock exams, because lots of you might want to give it a go and find out what you would have got. But because of the fact that you might be off isolating and other people might tell you what comes up on that exam or certain questions, we can't use that in the summer if summer exams are cancelled. Crucially, I must tell you that summer exams won't, it's a 99.99% chance that summer exams will be going on as usual. There is a tiny slither of a chance that they might be cancelled, and that's called Plan B. If Plan B happens, the government have asked us to submit teacher grades that are based on mock exams. Now, if you're isolating or if you are poorly for these mock exams, we won't just give you your tag grade based on these mocks because it's not fair. We'll use the second set of mocks because you'll have had a better chance. Okay? For the tag grades in the summer, if Plan B happens to happen, we won't use your November grades if they're not very good. If they are good and your March ones aren't so good, we'll use them. We'll use whichever's better. We'll do whatever we can to get you the best grade possible. Okay? But if you are isolating for these mock exams, we wouldn't be able to use this in evidence if it's Plan B. And again, I'm saying big ifs because of the fact that we fully expect the exams to run in the summer as normal because that's what the government have told us is going to happen. Right, so that's mocks. Tomorrow, we've got a drop-down day, and it is a important one because it is a careers one. there are going to be two periods, periods 1 and period 3, that are dedicated for revision time, because we realise that you will want time to revise. There's going to be a couple of sessions whereby you're going to have a little talk with a person who took a very varied career path in life, just to get you to see that everything's not linear. You don't kind of get exam results, then get the next thing and the next thing. It's a path's very curved. There'll also be a Yorkshire Water work experience and careers online event that they're going to run for you, encouraging you to take up some of the opportunities they can run. There's also going to be something called Start, and that's an online session with me. I'll record a video and take you through a program that we have bought for you that, when you log in, allows you to search for careers that you're interested in, and then come back down and work out what type of grades you're going to need. It allows you to create a CV. It allows you to log your qualifications. It allows you to basically get a CV ready. In that session, we'll also give you a chance to look and book, if you wanted, college taster days that are happening in January. Tuesday the 11th and Thursday the 13th of January, the colleges and sixth forms are doing taster days where you can go out, don't have to attend school, and you can go to college or sixth form and have a go at some of the sessions that you're interested in. So if you're interested in Huntingdon and All Saints, you can book on either of those days, and you'll be able to then go to the actual place and experience it for yourself and the subjects. We do not mind which days you book. Okay, we would really, really, really like you to book at least one taster day, if not two, so that you get a real good feel of those places you want to go to. I mentor a young person, and she's very set on two potential places, and one of them has a taster day. So she's going to pick one of those two York College taster days, and the other day she'll come into school. Okay, so for the taster days, you've got chance on the Wednesday to book in for them. We also need you to complete a form for me, and the form basically allows us to complete references for you on your behalf. So what often happens is that in around about March and May time, an employer, or an apprenticeship, or York College, Huntingdon or Fulford might get in touch and say, "Can you complete this reference and their most recent report, which would be your March mock exam report?" And to do that, we need your permission. We can't just do it without your permission. So there'll be another form for you to fill in. For that, don't worry, I'll take you through everything on a little video like this. Okay? Right. Thank you very much. Year 11, this is just in case I can't do the assembly on Tuesday, or if you are at home isolated, I can send this to you so you can view it. Okay? Thank you.